Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Alicia and I really enjoy reading. I really enjoy reading romantasy. I do have a BookTok if you'd like to follow that. I'll leave the link to it in the description, but if you followed me from there, then you'll know that I post on my BookTok daily. I post book reviews, book recs, memes, that type of thing. So if you want to follow me on there, that would be great. I also have a Bookstagram page where I just share reviews and pretty much the same sort of stuff. So I thought I'd give BookTube a go. So in this video, I'm going to go through what I read in December and then I'm going to go through my January TBR. So I'll start with my December reads first. So I started December off with the Book of Asriel by Ambervina Cole. I absolutely loved this book. It's about, I'm not going to go too much into it. I'm not going to do a review in this specific video, but essentially it's about Diana, who is the morally grey one in this book, and she meets a god called Samkiel, and it's all about like they're trying to find the Book of Asriel. Their goals sort of don't really align at first and stuff like that. So it's a really good book. It's a classic romantasy, lots of slow burn, lots of tension, lots of the tropes that we just love, you know, enemies to lovers, things like that. So I started December off with this book and then I went straight into the Throne of Broken Gods. So this book really does give you all the world building that you need. It is a lot slower because it has to do a lot of the world building. So I gave this, I know I said I wasn't going to review, but I'll just, for the sake of talking about the TBR and the books that I read, I gave this book 3.5 stars, but that's only because I found it very slow and at some points I was finding myself not wanting to pick it up. But The Throne of Broken Gods, I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have the physical copy yet. But The Throne of Broken Gods, I gave 4.5 stars because I feel like this book did a lot of the work that it needed to do, and it was, don't get me wrong, rating is subjective, but a 3.5 stars for me is still quite a good book, and I would still recommend it to people who, you know, wanted to read it. But The Throne of Broken Gods, because this one does all the world building, Throne of Broken Gods can just pick straight up from there and it just gets straight into it. And Throne of Broken Gods was just so good. So it's a long book, it's about 600 pages, but they're all quite chunky anyway, which we love, you know, in a fantasy book. There's a lot going on in it and plot just gets thicker. There's so many twists and turns, there's cliffhangers. It's just such a good series and I definitely recommend it. If you're wanting to read it, or if you've seen it on BookTok or anything like that, I definitely recommend picking it up. I think the series as a whole is going to be 7 books. I haven't picked up the third one yet because you'll see in a minute, but I've got a big reading journey ahead of me. But so I've not picked up the third book yet because the fourth one's out in August, so I might wait a little bit and then read the third one and then only have like a month or a couple of months until the fourth one comes out. So yeah, I think the way it's going, I think the series as a whole is going to be 5 stars for me. I know the first one was 3.5 and the second one was 4.5, but I feel like, you know, when you just get that feeling and you're like, I can't stop thinking about these characters, I feel like it's like that for me. I did really want to just go straight into The Dawn of the Cursed Queen, but I had other books to read, which I will move on to now. So the next series that I read in December was Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and then Kingdom of the Feared. I don't have the physical of Kingdom of the Feared yet. I read that one on my Kindle as well. So I read those because I'm in a book club and our book club pick of the month was Throne of the Fallen. So this is my book club's pick of the month, but I just really wanted to read Kingdom of the Wicked, that series, first, because I've heard, even though that Throne of the Fallen is a standalone, I've heard that, you know, it can kind of benefit you if you read Kingdom of the Wicked first. So I did, and I'm so glad I did it because I'm reading Throne of the Fallen at the moment and I just feel like I would not have cared about the Princes of Sin as much as I do knowing their background. I mean, they're all villains technically, so it's not like I'm rooting for them, but I kind of am. I think if I didn't read the Kingdom of the Wicked first, I wouldn't have been able to get into it as much as I have straight off the bat with Throne of the Fallen. So if you are wanting to read Throne of the Fallen, I would definitely recommend picking up Kingdom of the Wicked. It's only 3 books, but I definitely recommend picking that one up if you're wanting to read it. So these books follow the Princes of Sin. There's 7 of them. It mainly follows our FMC Amelia, and she meets Wrath, who is he's the Prince of Wrath. Essentially, he's the Prince of that sin. and the 3 books follow them and their story. And it starts off with Amelia is a part of a witch family. They're witches, and it starts off, you meet her family and then her sister gets murdered, and the stories follow Amelia trying to figure out who's murdered her sister, and things just come to light through trying to figure out the mystery. Things just start kicking off within the plot, and I really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend that series. I know it gets a lot of stick because the first book is very different to the second and third. The first book is like a completely different storyline, but also not, because throughout the storylines they are still trying to find Amelia's sister's murderer, but a lot of stuff just happens. Even in the second book, I was a bit like, this has gone a long way from the original storyline, but once you've read it and once you know the whole story, it all makes sense. So again, I would definitely recommend those 2. So the 5th book I read in December was Labyrinth of Broken Vows, and it's about our FNC Brielle. Check your trigger warnings because there's quite a lot in there that might trigger some people, but it's about Brielle, and she's in an unhappy marriage, and she finds herself in the position of having to go and save her husband from the Maze King. The Maze King is our MMC. The Maze King has heard stories of Brielle's beauty, and he was watching her for a while. He's fallen in love with her and he wants to make her his wife, but obviously Brielle's got a husband, although she's not happy with him. Brielle's husband finds himself in the curious position of being kidnapped by the Maze King, and Brielle tries to go through the maze to save her husband, but as she goes through the maze she learns more about herself, she learns more about the Maze King, and she kind of realizes that she doesn't want to be with her husband, basically. So she changes a lot while she's in the maze. Obviously the maze is magical as well, and it's the sort of story of Brielle finding herself, but also, I don't want to spoil it, so I would definitely read it. It's a dark romantasy and it's a labyrinth retelling. I will leave Millie Moon's social handles below. So moving on to my January TBR. January is going to be the Throne of Glass month. So I was going to do a video, like my first YouTube video, just being sort of like my Throne of Glass journey, but then I found I only had like three minutes of footage. So I was like, I'll just mix it in with my December reads, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, what I read in December. So yeah, I'm going to read, oh my god, so heavy. I'm going to read Throne of Glass, and I'm going to read it in this order. So I'm going to start with Assassin's Blade and go that way. I am going to do the tandem read as well, and if you follow me on BookTok, I'll probably do like the prepping for the tandem read and things like that. Only because I might put it into a YouTube video, but I'll have to tie it in with other things because I don't think it's going to take me a whole video's worth of footage to do the tab in for it. So yeah, I'm going to go from Assassin's Blade to Throne of Glass, and then I'm going to do the tandem read, and I'm really, really excited. I can't wait. Like I loved reading ACOTAR. I haven't read Crescent City yet. I've been waiting to read Throne of Glass before I read Crescent City, but I just loved reading ACOTAR, like the feeling it gave you, and I've obviously heard so many good things about Throne of Glass. I know there's a lot of debate about which book to start with, but I have done some research, and with the Assassin's Blade being the prequels or the events a year before Throne of Glass, I think I'd just prefer to read it that way, because I just feel, for me, I would feel better going into Throne of Glass knowing that stuff. So that's just the way I decided to do it. I started my reading journey as an adult just last January. So I started with ACOTAR because I've never had an individual experience in my life, apparently. So I started with ACOTAR, and I, like many people, I just got obsessed with reading, and I've read, I think I read about 40 books last year. And then as well in January, I'm going to read Onyx Storm. I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to take a break from Throne of Glass to read Onyx Storm, because even though Throne of Glass is on my January TBR, I don't think I'll get it all finished in January. I think it's going to take me probably until around March to finish it all, because I'm doing a degree at the moment as well, so I just feel like some of that work obviously has to come first. So I think Throne of Glass is going to take me till March, and I'm undecided yet as to whether I want to take a break to read Onyx Storm. I think I am going to take a break to read Onyx Storm because I don't know if I'll be able to hold off on it, because I'm so excited to see what happens, and I've been watching all the theories and I just don't know if I can wait. But also I don't want any spoilers, and I feel like it's going to be hard to miss them after about like a month of it being out. So I might just read it maybe beginning of February, and then or if I finish a book, if I finish one of the Throne of Glass books on or after the 21st of January, then maybe I'll just read Onyx Storm and then go back to Throne of Glass. But we'll see. I'll see how I feel. That was my December reads and my January TBR. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to film some more YouTube videos. I'm hoping this goes well. I'm hoping I find the time to edit. So yeah, thanks for watching.